Everybody, Rich with Prep You down here in the bunker. All right, so that Friday has come. I'm sure most of you had already heard this, that the Illinois State Supreme Court has given the ruling to the defendants, Pritzker and Kwame Raoul, in upholding the magazine and uh, semi-automatic rifle ban. They've, in a decision, I should say, of 4-3, Supreme Court says that the plaintiffs did not, let me put it this way, did not prove their case. And what parts didn't they prove? Well, they basically stated that the exemptions neither deny equal protection nor constitute special legislation because the plaintiffs have not sufficiently alleged that they are similarly situated to and treated differently. Um, they also said they failed to cross appeal in a jurisdiction bar to review the three readings claim. Accordingly, we reversed the circuit court and enter a judgment for defendants on the equal protection and special legislation claim. So that's what they talked about. Okay, but here's the, you know, I hate me even saying this, the glimmer of hope. There's a couple glimmers of hope. This shouldn't have happened in the first place. Okay, this is against the Second Amendment. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's special legislation. We know that. Um, but one thing they said specifically, and the majority opinion was delivered by Justice Elizabeth Rochford and concurred by Chief Justice Mary Jane Thies, Justice P. Scott Neville, and Joy Cunningham. But what they said is we express no opinion on the potential viability of the plaintiff's wavered claim concerning the Second Amendment. They don't want to take a stand because they can't, because they swore to uphold the Constitution of not only the state of Illinois, but the United States of America. So they don't want to get themselves in a trick bag because when this goes to the Supreme Court, which it will because of the federal cases, they don't want to be looking like idiots. Oh, we never said anything. Okay. So, aside from the Second Amendment challenges alleging the law violated the right to keep and bear arms, another issue stems from the carve out for employees in law enforcement and security sector who are exempt from law. Plaintiffs say not requiring the class to comply with the ban violates equal protection. But they found no claim to that in there. So basically, the temporary restraining orders for thousands of individuals in gun stores secured from different state lawsuits are now void, and the Illinois Supreme Court has upheld the law. So here comes the question on that. So a couple of things happened. There were people, remember that 5 days when it was in limbo and people went out and purchased firearms, magazines that were banned? And also the people that were on the temporary restraining order, that they were part of that temporary restraining order and went out and purchased firearms and magazines according to the ban. What happens to those? Well, the interesting thing about that is the Illinois State Police, Brendan Kelly, I believe, has already stated that we're going to come after those firearms. Well, that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. He can talk all he wants, but it's going to be interesting to see what the troopers actually do and if they work with local law enforcement and stuff like that. We'll see. And we still have the sheriffs, county sheriffs, saying that we're not going to enforce it. And interesting, and I'm going to name names here. There's a show on WLS, and it's Big John Howell, and he has gone from pretty much when I first started hearing him a true conservative to a very wishy-washy liberal. Not a leftist, he's not that crazy, but he has this former police chief in from Riverside on all the time, and I don't agree with them. Hey, maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's wrong, but their point was that it's wrong for the sheriffs to not enforce a law. Well, what they don't get is sheriffs are different. than local law enforcement or state police and stuff like that. They're voted on by the people, and they're allowed to, in my understanding, and I could be wrong, is they're allowed to look at each law as to the constitutionality of that law and decide if they are going to enforce that law. They also can, if need be, don't have to specifically start a case with that law, but if, say, down the road and they get somebody for whatever and another law applies, they have stated that they may use this law against those people as an add-on law, but they're not going to specifically go after people. I know local law enforcement has also said that. I don't know about the state police. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. The minority opinion was delivered by Justice Lisa Holder White and concurred by Justices David Overstreet and Mary O'Brien. Basically, this great nation was founded on the premise that the right of law-abiding citizens to bear arms is essential to what it means to be a free people. The right of law-abiding citizens to possess firearms and to arm themselves to protect their families, their homes, and themselves must not be infringed, which is extremely important. And what's interesting about the way they're talking here is it's specifically Second Amendment stuff. So it's almost like the court is saying, yeah, well, we don't think that on these other little minor things that it holds any water. And the majority opinion, we don't want to touch that Second Amendment thing. The minority opinion, hey, dude, this is going to be a big thing when it gets to the Second Amendment and the Supreme Court of the United States. So you can see how the court is kind of balancing this. The minority opinion is, I think they're in the right. I think they're perfectly all right. And that's Justice Lisa Holder White and Justices David Overstreet and Mary O'Brien. Just for sidebar, we all know that this act came on, which Protect Illinois Community Act, on January 10th this year, and it bans sales of certain semi-automatic rifles, pretty much all semi-automatic rifles, and magazines over a certain capacity. An affidavit of such firearms owned before then must be registered by the Illinois State Police on January 1st, 2024, or criminal penalties apply. So it's going to be very interesting to see who starts registering their firearms, if anybody does. And as I stated before, sheriffs across the state have vowed not to enforce the law. And don't forget, there are separate challenges consolidated in the Seventh Circuit. U.S. Court of Appeals are pending. A 3-judge panel heard the case in Chicago in late June, and it is unclear when that ruling is going to set forth. So we'll see. We'll see what they say. I kind of have an idea. This is going to the Supreme Court, no matter who you or what side that you believe on. And it says here, you just don't know what's going to happen in federal courts. And as of late, the appointees to the U.S. Supreme Court are people who unfortunately want to take away the rights of parade goers and people who live in our communities to live safely and not have assault weapons that are attacking local communities, Pritzker says. And what is he talking about? He's talking about Trump appointees to the Supreme Court. They love the Supreme Court. When they win, they hate them when they lose. I mean, it's just a bunch of babies, or the boy down the street that's not winning the basketball game, so he takes his ball and goes home and doesn't play with the rest. Unfortunately, he's kind of right in a way that we still have to worry about the Supreme Court, because 2 justices, specifically Kavanaugh and Roberts, have been very disappointing to conservatives, at least this conservative, very disappointing. And some of the liberals obviously have already said that they do not believe that we should own these. They do not look at the Second Amendment we do, even though they swore on the Bible to uphold the Constitution. They don't seem to want to do that. And I should say most of the information I got, again, was from Greg Bishop, associate editor. with the Center Square. And I've said this before, if you aren't subscribed to the Center Square, please do. It's very interesting. So the question is, what are some of the gun rights groups saying about this? Well, I can tell you what one said. This is from the Illinois State Rifle Association. They responded today to the 5-3 decision in Calkins versus Pritzker case. And the 4-3 decision by the Illinois Supreme Court that the assault weapons ban does not violate the Constitution was no surprise. Illinois Constitution, okay? But gun associates across the state should not lose hope because our federal case, the ISRA's case, which we expect to go before the U.S. Supreme Court, will prove to be a victory, and not just for law-abiding gun owners in Illinois, but across the country. The Illinois State Rifle Association and the Second Amendment Foundation are proud to stand up for gun owners as we take our case to the highest court in the land. You know, there's an old saying, don't count your chickens before they hatch. All right. If we win at the Supreme Court, fantastic. But this is still a piece of paper, the Constitution, and we still have a God-given right to protect ourselves, our family, our friends, and our property. And soapbox time. Okay, soapbox time. I am not counting on the Supreme Court to do the right thing. I know there's some really good justices there. Alito, Barrett, Alito are really good. But I don't want to see a 6-3 decision at all. I see it, if it's in our favor, it'd probably be a 5-4 decision. I don't see a 6-3 decision in our favor. Going the opposite way, it could be a 6-3 decision against us. It all depends. You don't know. But I think it's ridiculous, again, that these cases are coming forward when all these politicians swore to uphold the Constitution, and they know what the Constitution says. So keep your eyes to the TV and your ears to the radio and see what's going on, and listen to who's happy, who's sad, who's upset, who's pissed off. Vote your conscience, because we got some major elections coming up, and we need to change the direction of this country. And I speak as a law-abiding gun owner. I speak as a citizen of the United States and a citizen of the state of Illinois, that people keep telling me to leave. A lot of people tell me to leave, but I'm going to stick around and fight. So that's it. That's all we know from the court at this point. It is a 5-3 or 4-3 decision in favor of PICA. At this point, we'll see what happens down the road. All right. Thank you for watching this video. I know most of you already knew this. There's some nuances in the case that I still haven't read, haven't gotten to, but I figured I might as well put this video out and let you know what's going on. So anyhow, thank you. It's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy. Have fun with your family, your grandkids, whatever. And as we always say, always be aware of your surroundings, especially in the climate of today, since it seems like the prosecutors are giving the criminals all the green lights, and those of us that are trying to just keep things going, the red lights, or at least yellow. And always have enough food, water, medicine, ammunition on hand, whether you shelter in place or bug out, and please prep like your life depends on it, because it really does. Thanks a lot. Thank you, subscribers. Pass this video along to everybody you know, especially Second Amendment people, and hopefully I'll get more than 40 views or 50 views on this video, because I don't know, I must be doing something wrong because nobody's watching my videos anymore. All right, take care. See you later.